Welcome to Meeple Podcast, Season 4.
Hello again, welcome to Meeple Podcast. Among every player who goes to the Carcassonne World Championship, there are some of them who repeat their German experience. To visit one more time this event is for everyone simply a gift. But if you do it consecutively, you probably can't quite believe it. It is a dream come true. Hogne Jorgensen, Hogne on BGA, welcome.
Thank you for having me on your podcast.
How many times had you been to the World Cup?
Last year was my first time competing in the World Championship, so this year will be my second participation.
This year it takes place in Hogne at the Spielerzentrum, and the trophy ceremony will be held in Essen during the Spiel Festival. What is your opinion on the change of location of the tournament?
In Essen there were a lot of people that wanted to get to the Spiel Festival at the same time the tournament started, so a lot of traffic on the metro to get there. And the basement we were playing in was also quite hard to find, even though we got a very detailed explanation on how to get there beforehand. But after getting there, the location was very nice to play in. I've never been to Spielzentrum in Hogne, so I can't really compare it to Essen, but I think it's fine to change the location, and hopefully easier to find.
Last year, masks. This year, no masks. Do you think this mask hysteria about COVID has finally come to an end?
Yes, I think so. It was quite strange last year to have to play with masks. Germany was one of the only countries in Europe still mandating people to use masks in October last year. In Norway, for example, all COVID control measures stopped in around February, I think.
Tell us briefly about your experience last year, in general, and what are your expectations in this edition?
I went into last year's World Championship with really no expectations. I was just really happy to have qualified and won the national championship. Maybe I was a little too relaxed. I actually almost didn't get to compete at all. I was the last player to arrive and was 15 minutes late, so I'm just grateful that they waited and didn't start without me. I underestimated the time it would take to get to the Spiel Festival and had trouble finding the playing location in the basement. The tournament started just minutes after I arrived, so in my first game I had a really high heart rate and was sweating. Not because I was nervous, but because I had been running so much to get there in time. And in the very first game I met Martin Musis from the Czech Republic. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I have later learned that he has won the World Championship before and been a finalist multiple times. That game was really chaotic, and in the end it was a draw. After that, I continued to play well and the games went my way. I ended up in fourth place after losing the bronze final against Musis, which I met in my first game of the day. Fourth place was above all my expectations. There are so many really good players participating, so I'm really satisfied with the result. My goal for this year is really just to play well. Carcassonne has a quite high luck factor on a high level since players don't do many big mistakes. I'll be happy this year if I, after the tournament, feel that I have played well, regardless of what the result is in the end.
I would like you to tell the audience how the tournament in Norway is held, if it has qualifiers before the finals or if it is a one-day event, if that final round or single day follows the same system as the World Championship, Swiss system preliminary round and second playoff round, and how many players were in the tournament.
Carcassonne is not that big in Norway, so it's just a one-day event. This year there were only 12 participants, which is on the lower end of how many usually participates. The tournament format is similar to the World Championship, Swiss system for the preliminary rounds, but 6 rounds instead of 5. Then finals for the 4 best players, and then the final.
Now tell us about your path to become the Norwegian Championship.
I won 5 of the 6 games in the preliminary rounds, but one of the games I won with only 1 point. If I had lost that game, I would have been at risk of not qualifying for the semifinals. In the semifinal and final, I controlled my games, and I wasn't at any big risk of losing. Though in the final, I thought my opponent would be able to take over the big field if she drew the right tile and take the win from me. But I had miscounted the tiles, and it was actually no tiles fitting to connect into the big field.
Finally, I always ask all podcast guests what they value most about their trip to the World Cup. Now that it's not your first time, I guess it's not all about expectation, but also about what are you going to relive.
It's a really great experience, and nice to meet other competitive Carcassonne players, not just online. I really like to play face-to-face too. Also, last year, since I got to the bronze final and played all day, me and my girlfriend had not time to experience the Spiel festival. This year we will have time for that on Sunday, since the competition is on Saturday.
Tell me something, how does it feel to beat Osvaldo Del Arco in the quarterfinals that year? He is 4-time Mexican champion, and he was undefeated during the Swiss system last edition.
Osvaldo Del Arco was one of the few players I recognized from Board Game Arena, so I knew he was a great player. In the game against him, I got an early lead and was able to keep the lead throughout the game. In the late game, I think I gave him no path back to victory, so I'm really happy how I played that game.
And when you get knocked out in the semifinals, is it any consolation that the player who eliminated you was finally the one who won the World Cup?
It really makes no difference for me that Arpad Khere ended up winning, but he played really well. The game actually developed quite similar to my game against Osvaldo, but this time me being on the losing side. He got an early lead and shut down all my possibilities to make a comeback. He's a worthy winner of the World Championship, in my opinion.
What about other games? Do you like to play another kind of board games, in person or online?
I love playing board games, mostly in person, and also play some other board games competitively. I won the national championship in Dick the Ride many years ago, and I also been finalist twice in the Catan national championship. Otherwise, I mostly play board games for fun with friends, family, and my girlfriend.
Well, Hogne Jorgensen, thank you for accepting the invitation to Meeple Podcast. I wish you the best of luck for the tournament.
Thank you very much.
And if you win, remember you have an interview as world champion on this channel.
Of course.
Thank you all for listening. See you in the next episode.